You know, dear Lord, what they're going to be struggling with. You know, dear Lord, what they're going over that loss, dear Lord. Dear Lord, just help me. Touch her, dear Lord. Just strengthen her, Lord. Just calm the sign, dear Lord. I pray, Lord, wherever she's at, dear Lord. And dear Lord, show her your love, dear Lord, your grace and your mercy, dear Lord. Sometimes, dear Lord, it seems like you're hit, dear Lord, behind the lines, dear Lord. And I'm thankful, Lord, you're still there, dear Lord. We may not be seen, dear Lord. We may not sometimes be with you, Lord. But I'm thankful, dear Lord, you haven't left us, dear Lord. You're still there, dear Lord. And you hear us, dear Lord, today, dear Lord. You hear, dear Lord, and I'm thankful, dear Lord, that you, dear Lord. Dear Lord, dear Lord, know, dear Lord, if they look dark, dear Lord, and not, dear Lord, know, dear Lord, the troubles and temptations, dear Lord. About before us, dear Lord, look so rough and rough, dear Lord. Dear Lord, they look hard, dear Lord, in our lives, dear Lord. We so many times you in face, dear Lord, hard trials, Lord. Dear Lord, but dear Lord, thankful, dear Lord, you said you'll make our feet like fine to be, dear Lord. And we can walk upon the highways, dear Lord. We can, dear Lord, dwell, dear Lord, in the rough and rocky land, dear Lord. We can, dear Lord, not just dwell there, dear Lord, but we can, dear Lord, live, dear Lord, constantly there, Lord. We will, dear Lord, trust you, Lord, and let you work in our lives, dear Lord. We'll let you, dear Lord. Dear Lord, you'll give us, dear Lord, what we need. We have to make it, dear Lord, abundantly, dear Lord, in this way, dear Lord. Just help us, dear Lord. I pray all for all of these, dear Lord. There's so many of them who need, dear Lord, your touch and your help, dear Lord. Dear Lord, but just help us to start in my life, dear Lord. Help me to let you walk with me, Lord, and just to walk with you, Lord. And dear Lord, dear Lord, just kind of start with what you Praise Anybody else, Lord, but I'll be able to get my life, dear Lord, where it needs to be. And I'll draw it close, dear Lord, every day, dear Lord, because, dear Lord, there's no point, dear Lord, where we're close enough, Lord. Till we get there, Lord, there's always room for growth, dear Lord. There's always room for me, Lord. There's something to grow, Lord. I pray, Lord, draw near, dear Lord, and turn, dear Lord, that you may light aside, dear Lord, all the pleasure that you see around Remember what you said, dear Lord, today, dear Lord, you said, my people is called by my name, will humble themselves, dear Lord. And say, my face is hard with every place. Then what I hear now, I'll heal the prayer of God. Dear Lord, show to us, dear Lord, today, something to me, dear Lord, show to me, Lord, dear Lord, every day, dear Lord, 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 and I, dear Lord, my mind, dear Lord, the able, dear Lord, dear Lord, the believer, I need you, Lord, dear Lord, that I can, dear Lord, be saved, dear Lord, my sin, dear Lord, dear Lord, I won't have to be on the pray for myself, Lord, I can pray for somebody else, Lord. Dear Lord, I'm doing my best every day, dear Lord, to fight against the devil, Lord. When you're lost, dear Lord, in this way, dear Lord, in the hand of your Lord, help us to walk, dear Lord, and say, dear Lord, go forth, dear Lord, preaching on whatever I'm doing. Lord, that God, that we just cast our cares on you tonight, straight, and we not reach to that, Lord, it's all. God, that we have, Lord, give, Lord, I pray that you promise that you reach, you promise, Lord, that you hear us and you answer to God. Lord, help us just to wait and anticipate, God, answers that we have, Lord. God, as we try to show tears today, Lord, hey, God, that we're not going to rejoice, you, Lord, oh, that not rejoice and rejoice together with you, God, those, hey, God, those that are wayward, Lord, that took the oath and hey, God, that lost sheep, dear Lord, hey, God, that you got to get us lost sheep, we'll be Lord, help us, dear Lord, dear Lord, bring the light, Lord, help us to go away, I don't see it, Lord, thank you, Lord, we'll be merciful, Lord, we'll be sorry, Lord, thank you, Lord, dear Lord, oh, dear Lord, precious, dear Lord, page 335, 335. Sometimes the Lord leads us to the darkest, brightest building to remind us how faithful He is.
Yeah. Go ahead. Thinking on the way over here about running a race. And talking about that song. It says, "You leadeth me." And it talks about the ups and the downs. Right, they are prescribed. Sometimes it seems the darkest gloom, sometimes we're even the hour's gloom. But no matter what, whether on the good or in the bad, He leadeth me. You know? Just couldn't help but think about how we gonna finish. How we gonna finish? Um, are we gonna finish well? Are we gonna finish well? A runner runs a race, and um, it doesn't necessarily matter how well they start. Now, that's important, don't get me wrong, but it matters the most how they finish. And I remember years ago, over at the nursing home, the Lord let me preach a message, and it was about how that you had let me just say this, it was taken from, I believe it's the book of John, where there was a wedding ceremony taking place, and Jesus hadn't revealed who He was yet, but he got over there, and they were about to run out of wine. And at the end, Mary went to Jesus and she said, "They're about to run out. Do something." And she said, "Lord, my time's not yet come." And she just told the young men there, the servants there, men, women, I don't remember, but she said, "Whatever He tells you to do it." It's just in my own words. And so Jesus went on and said, "Let's fill them up with some water and start serving it out." And He changed the water into wine. But the thought that I had that day was the best is yet to come. Because at the end, what did they say? They came to Him there, and the master of the feast, the bride there was talking to Him and said, "Most of the time you keep," and I'm just telling them my own words, He said, "Most of the time you save the worst to last, but you save the best for the end. This wine is better than all the rest you serve." And it doesn't matter so much today how we start in this race, but how we finish is really important. It's really, really important. And I'd like us to turn over into the Blue Book, page 213. I've been thinking about this song quite a bit. The song says, "Was Jesus bear the cross alone?" And with the words, it says, "Must Jesus bear the cross alone and all the world go free? No, there's a cross for everyone, and there's a cross for me." We've got a race to run, and I thought about the book of Hebrews, the 12th chapter. And I'm going to try to quote it, I may not get it word for word, but he says, "Seeing we're compassed about by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us run with patience the race that is set before us." I believe it also says, "Let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily besets us, and run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith." And that might not be word for word, but I thought, there's something set before us. We've got a race to run. Now the question is, how are we going to finish? How are we going to finish it? Am I going to finish strong? Am I going to give it all I've got? And I thought about several years ago, when I was still teaching at Locust Fork, and I was helping coach baseball, and I got out and decided I was going to work out with the team, and try to get in shape. And we went through a workout one day, and I was working out with the kids there. And at the end of that workout, we were out and we were doing some running. And I thought, well, I'm going to run. I can go just about as fast as some of these. And I got out there and I started running. And my mind was saying, I'm going to run. And my legs were done. And I just couldn't run. I couldn't make them go as fast as I wanted to. They just wouldn't go. They just wouldn't carry me. They were worn out. I'd already given all I could give, but I thought about that when it comes to our Christian life. Have we given all we've got to finish the race? Are we finishing the race? The song goes on. He said, "The consecrated cross I'll bear till death shall set me free, and then go home, my crown to wear, for there's a crown for me." How are we finishing? Are we carrying it, and are we doing what we're supposed to do? I, for one, and this is me, I want to finish better than I started. I want to finish stronger than I started. I didn't start well, but I want to run this race as well as I can. I want to finish strong today. I want to give it all I got, so that when I get through, I can be like Paul. He said, "I fought a good fight. I finished the course." He said, "I finished the course." I want to be like Paul. I want to carry it and do the best I can. Today, let's sing this song tonight. I love it. Anybody got anything? 97, page 97. Anybody else? Anything else?
Glad that Jesus will lead you guys. I'm glad that the Lord Himself is here. He's really real and everybody. He'll meet with Himself alongside of you. Wonderful blessing to know that my baby hear and answer our prayers. And I'll be blessed to do what we do in our lives. Anyone have any questions?
Blessing, Lord.
Definitely do stand in your prayers for me. Kind of thought, some time was brought to my attention. Quite a while back. Just kind of been thinking about. Do this. We brought back to my attention earlier in the week. Just feel like that's where we want it to go tonight. So definitely send me your prayers. Do what He wants me to do tonight. I'm going to be reading in two different locations. I'm going to first start reading in the book of Acts in the 27th chapter, and also in the book of Hebrews in the 11th chapter. In Acts, the 27th chapter, I'm going to start reading in the 20th verse. This is a devotion from this same scripture from the week before the Lord. One of the thoughts in my mind, so I'm just going to try to do my best to follow it. So in Acts 27th chapter, beginning in the 20th verse, it says, "And when neither sun nor stars in many days appeared, and no small tempest lay on us, all hope that we should be saved was then taken away. But after long abstinence, Paul stood forth in the midst of them and said, Sirs, you should have hearkened unto me and not loosed from fruit, and should have gained this harm and loss. Now I exhort you to be of good cheer, for there shall be no loss of any man's life among you, but of the ship. For there stood by me this night the angel of God, whose I am and whom I serve, saying, Fear not, Paul, thou must be brought before Caesar, and lo, God hath given thee all them that sail with thee. Wherefore, sirs, be of good cheer, for I believe God that it shall be even as it was told me. Howbeit we must be cast upon a certain island. But when the 14th night was come, as we were driven up and down in Adria, About midnight, the shipmen deemed that they drew near to some country, and sounded and found it 20 fathoms. When they had gone a little further, they sounded again and found it 15 fathoms. Then, fearing lest we should have fallen upon rocks, they cast 4 anchors out of the stern and wished for the day. And as the shipmen were about to flee out of the ship, when they had let down the boat into the sea, under color as though they would have cast anchors out of the foreship, Paul said to the centurion and to the soldiers, except these abide in the ship, you cannot be saved. Then the soldiers cut off the ropes off the boat and let her fall off. And over in the book of Hebrews, in the 11th chapter, I want to begin reading in the 13th verse. It says, these all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. For they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country. And truly, if they had been mindful of that country from whence they came out, they might have that opportunity to have returned. But now they desire a better country, that is, in heavenly. Wherefore God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he hath prepared for them a city. And that's all I feel led to read this evening, but I couldn't help but think when I was reading over here in the book of Acts, and it just kind of hit me. I've never really thought about this, but it talked about there when the shipmen were about to flee out of the ship. They were about to let down the boat, their life raft, if you will, the extra vessel they had to save their souls in the event that the ship was about to be destroyed. And it says that they let the ship down, and they were about to get in it, and Paul told the soldiers that except these abide in the ship, you cannot be saved. And I just couldn't help but to think about this. In that 32nd verse, this is what kind of stuck out to me. It says, then the soldiers cut off the ropes off the boat and let her fall off. And I couldn't help but to think tonight, and y'all just pray for me. I thought about letting the things in our lives, what things are in our lives that we're still holding on to and haven't fully committed to following and staying with the Lord. What are the things that we are keeping tonight that I couldn't help but think, just bear with me. I couldn't help but think, in our lives, a lot of times we'll go through and we'll have backup plans. We're afraid that if something falls through, we want to have an extra out. We want to have something that we can hold on to, just in case something in my plans go wrong. And that's what these men were wanting to do. They had an out that they were wanting to get out of. But Paul had told them already that if they stayed with the ship, they were going to be all right.
That's right.
And that's the way it is with our Christian life as well. We hold on to a lot of things in our life that we don't want to give over to the Lord. There's a lot of things where we don't want to just fully trust Him with in our life. But what we've got to do with those things, if we want to truly enjoy this way, if we want to truly enjoy staying with the ship tonight, then we've got to cut those things off and let them fall off. We've got to get rid of those things, and just as the soldiers did, the thought that just keeps coming to me is just cutting them off. We've got to cut those things off and get committed to staying with the Lord. When we get rid of those things, we can't go back to them anymore. The old devil can't say, well, you can just go on back to where you've been. And I thought about over in the book of Hebrews, where it talked about if they would have been mindful of the country wherewith they came out of, they might have had an opportunity, they would have had an opportunity, I believe it says, to have returned. But I think about Abraham. When he was looking for a wife for his son Isaac, he sent back one of his servants over in the land where he came out of, right? He had opportunity. He could have went back over and done that. But he sent one of his servants. Right. He wasn't going to go back to where the Lord had called him from. He had opportunity, but he had decided that he was seeking a country and a city whose builder and maker was God. He was willing to go and follow the Lord. He had already cut off the things from where he used to be. And that's what we need to be doing tonight. We need to be cutting off those things which are holding us back, and we need to have faith. That's what Abraham had. He had faith that the Lord had carried him here, and he had a purpose for him right there, no matter what happened. He had faith that he could send that servant back and he would bring a wife for his son. He had faith in that tonight. And that's what we need to do. We need to have faith even when the storms come, even when it looks like the ship's going to be wrecked, that we need to stick with it. Amen. And follow the Lord tonight. Because if we will follow him, if we will get fully, and I thought about it on the way home, fully committed. Yep. We've got to be fully committed to it. We need to get rid of those things. I need to get rid of those things. This is to me tonight too. I need to get rid of those things which have been holding on to, those things that, well, I'm going to trust you, Lord, but I've just got this over here. It's this area I don't want to fully get rid of and fully and completely trust you. And we just need to cut those things off. Just let them fall off. Don't worry about them anymore. And fully commit our way to it. And I'm thankful if we do that. Read here in the next chapter. You read about the difference Paul was able to make for these people. He was able to heal quite a few of the people there on that island. And if he was committed to staying with the Lord. He was committed to following him. If we were committed, the Lord can work in our life. If we will be willing to stick with him. I'm thankful that we can stick with him. We just need to cut off those things. Get rid of them, whatever it may be. Those things are out. Maybe it's the things where we've been before. Maybe it's that we just don't want to fully trust him. Whatever it may be, we just got to get rid of it. I love the Lord tonight. I'm thankful for what he's done in my life. Thankful that we can follow him. That's all I have on my heart. Does anybody have anything on your heart? Anything tonight?
Mother, mother.
And let me say the pros and cons. I will say the pros and cons for the innovation. And I'll start with the same thing. Anybody else have any questions? Yes, thank you. Okay, but I want to also make my mind. Just read what sometimes it seems like your life has just been struggling and talking about it. And, sometimes it's not too hard. It just seems like it's so sometimes that we've been trying and trying, and I'm trying to find it myself. So like you know, it's something that well, I can't always be found doing my part. And so I'm going to be found doing my part with the phone and everything to do. I just want to be found doing my part. Not becoming a suggestion on.
Mother, she will be accepting the mother.
And we'll say it's got the name of God, it's the name of God, and the name of discussion. It's not all part of the movement, so. Over sunshine.
Mother,
And let me say pros and cons. Over sunshine. Every day, I go and praise and bless you God today. And day for my blessed day today. Yeah, and let that touch yesterday. I look up these clouds. The clouds is moving. And I see that take up the stars with open. You know, I call that one called in heaven. You know, what the heaven is in you, heaven is in you. He's always in my eyes. You know, we see, we put him out in the dog and my best friend outside. You know, all he do is look at his child and talk to Jesus. When we talking him out there, I close my eyes to keep my eyes to focus on the Lord. As we need to keep our hearts in trouble, I read something last month. I mean, the book on Genesis, I had it covered over that name. When you're having your heart in trouble, the Lord there to help you out. One person tell me, nothing beat worry, stress, let's keep the faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. The one person tell me to feel our strength, what our strength is in Jesus Christ. He is no strength. He is no power. There's great love in Jesus Christ. He showed me God sometimes He come in my dreams, right? All my dreams, He showed me that your heaven is a better place than hell. The heaven is the real, hell is the real too. That's a place that bad people go. They put that stuff there themselves, not us. All us go, who's to say, to go to heaven with God. You don't want to talk to people that you don't want to talk to us that are in hell. You want us to be happy, be strength, and loving people, and love them, care about them. I keep on praying this church when the able bodies will hear. When you know the able bodies, the kids, loved ones, and people I not know, because they will keep on pray for them and love them. And that's what Jesus told us to do, love everybody. What people do, what people don't. And that's okay, I keep on praying for them. I hate that what happened at Lisa. I know her to help me in trouble. I keep on praying for her last night. And the one day I have to be there, and she's there one day. And it's to the point where you're not a God, I God, I have him you Jesus Christ. When person show me about Jesus, what you preach on your Holy Bible, you go to church with Daniel talking about, you can show me about Jesus Christ and what. I don't say your devil breaks will hear. You sing that song. That's the same day I don't say. I'm glad. I know also have troubles and trials. Also, I also need to fix that. I also need to fix that to keep that in the hands of God. One person tell me about that is my mother. For all of a sudden, somebody who keep you, carry you, then you need to pray. I pray. I keep all that stuff up to the Lord. I love you. I really love the Lord. That's one of the things that you can say about Daddy too.
everybody always wants to have a plan. It's just kind of silly, but we got a movie called Kobe's Heroes, Mo, Herb, and Sirius the Rand, and they always came up with these harebrained schemes that always seem to work. One of the ones we watched the other day, one of the people came up to the colonel, who always came up with the plans. They said, "What's the procedure if something goes wrong?" No answer. And I thought, it's just kind of silly, but I thought, what's our procedure if something goes wrong? What's the plan be? And I thought about, and I'm not trying to take away or add to anything Andy said, but I thought about the centurion as he took his sword and he cut the ropes on those lifeboats and watched them fall into the water. Imagine the terror and the fear that those men in the boat might have felt as that centurion just done. There's your last hope right there. But the centurion believed Paul. He believed what Paul said. He said if he'll stay with the ship, it's going to work out. And so he took every excuse, every way out, he took it away. He said, we're going down, we're going to go down here with the ship. As a soldier, they were trained to follow orders. They didn't always have to make sense. When he made up his mind, that centurion made up his mind that we're going to do this. He went through all the way. We read on, and when they got ready to go to shore, the boat was about to be broken up. Technically, what the centurion was supposed to do was he was supposed to kill all the prisoners, because if he lost a prisoner, that was worth his life. That was the Roman tradition. They didn't lose men. But what happened? He let all of his prisoners, all the people he was carrying there, the people he was transporting from, including Paul, he let them all be cast into the sea. The miracle was not a single one was lost. But I couldn't, it just struck me when Daniel was saying, what's the plan if something goes wrong? What's the plan B if somebody comes through the door with a gun? Well, my plan is I just have to trust the Lord. I don't have another plan. I've already cut the lifeboat in my life. And there's no escape for me. The song, that's what made me think of this song. It said, I've come too far to turn back. I've come too far to look back. I'm too far into this thing to go back. There's nowhere else for me to go. There's nowhere else for me to go. I want to sing the second verse again. I love the second verse of this song. The chorus of the song, we all sing it. Let's all sing it. I've got ties. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm just going to say, Lord, I think about the man that put him in Bethesda. He said, Master, Lord, when the water's troubled, there's no one to lift me in the pool. But while I'm trying to come, someone else comes down and gets in ahead of me. And I've always thought, if it were me and I was there by the pool, I think I'd try to lay on the edge as close as I could get. Maybe he wasn't even able to get there, but lay as close as the water gets trouble situation. I think I'd just try to throw myself in. Just any way to get touched. Just full out commitment. Just cut the lifeboats. Just step out. Trust. Listen to the last verse. I'm going to sing it one more time. I know it's getting late, but I'm going to sing it one more time. The Lord come by and starts turning. Let us praise Him for a minute. If we've really come too far to turn back, think about it. Let it settle deep in your mind and in your heart tonight. And we cut all the life ties, we cut the ropes on the lifeboats and committed our. That scripture. It said, believe that they eventually just loosed everything and ran before the gale. They just let everything go, pulled up all the anchors and just let the wind carry them where it would, if I'm not mistaken. And it cast them on the island, man. They just let everything go. They said, we're going. We're just going to have to try it. Let's just cast off. We've lost our lifeboats. We've given up all our food, everything we stored, everything we were going to profit up. Let's just give it all and See what happens. We want to cast everything of value out. Let's just see what happens. I will just cast everything out today to make it through. We'll see. Yeah, we'll place. Around there's no happiness. There's no reason for living. Life will give you a broken dream, full of sorrow and fear. Turn around, don't look back again. Face the new day before you. Place your heartache in Jesus' hand. 'Cause He can mend broken dreams. I come too far to look back. I can't walk with the valley. I climb mountains, cross rivers. Desert places I know. But I'm weary from all shore. The Redeemer rejoicing. And the day tells us singing. I've come too far to look back. Too far to look back.
Good to be here tonight. Continue praying and keep the questions tonight. Brought something to my attention earlier when I was praying. Thought about it in a song. It talks about in the chorus where it said, "My feet have walked through valley, and I've climbed the mountain, crossed rivers." And couldn't help but think about the children of Israel over there as they got down to the edge of the Red Sea. You know, there's areas on each side keep them from going around. I thought about where you see in movies sometimes where there'll be people who need to, like in the old days of the West, they'd be need to cross over a mountain, and they want to look for ways around the sides. They'd always try and go around the sides, but sometimes, and you know, sometimes that's the way it is in our lives. It looks, you've got this rough, rocky mountain terrain, the worst you could ever imagine. But you know, if we would stop trying to look for ways around, we trust the Lord. All about the scripture, it told us He gives us people like kind of scripture. We can walk upon that high place. Yep. The Lord will give us the strength to go over the mountains and through the valley. If we'll just stop trying to do it our own ways and stop trying to hold on to those things, we'll just do it His way and just follow where He tells us to go, He'll give us what we need to get across. He gave the children of Israel what they needed to get across that Red Sea, and after they got across, Moses said, "The Egyptians which you see today, you see no more." You know, we'll just follow the Lord. He'll take care of it. Amen. He'll bless us if we do it. Every Sunday,